What a lovely surprise. Welcome. Oishi, why don't... I heard that you've been traveling all over the place recently. I would very... Hoishin told you, didn't she? Don't worry. I'm quite all right. It's just the years gradually catching up. As I grow older, I'm starting to find that with many things, I am still very much in good standing as the Tianshu today. Nevertheless, I would...
How difficult is it to transfer the Tianshu position?
Oh, well, you see, the Tianshu is a rather unique position among the Liyue Qixing. Historically speaking, the Tianshu rarely appears in public. We stay behind the scenes, planning and giving advice. So, we also want to keep any prospective Tianshu candidates free from influence by outside forces. So we tend to be as discreet as possible in this. For these reasons, the incumbent Tianshu typically recommends their candidate of choice, and this is then approved by the other Qixing.
So in other words, you pick someone, and then Lady Keqing, Lady Ningguang, and the other Qixing appoint them?
Correct. Unfortunately, due to my health, I won't be able to assess it. Not to despair, however, because I found someone exceptionally capable to act on my behalf as assessment officer. In fact...
Oh? Who is it?
I'm heartbroken. I thought it might take you a little longer than this to forget all about me.
It's Yelan!
Jackpot. Uncle Tian here asked me to assess 3 candidates for him. Fancy joining me? You'll be among the first to get to know the next Tianshu. Might be a good opportunity for you.
What do you think? Paimon thinks so too. It can't be a bad thing to be on good terms with a new Qixing, right?
Alright then. Though, I gotta say, Uncle Tian, you say you're into behind-the-scenes planning? My work's of the covert variety, too. Don't you think I might make a good Tianshu?
Huh? Yelan, you want to be the next Tianshu?
I'm not opposed to the idea, but I suspect Ningguang wouldn't let you go very easy. So, how about this? If your investigation reveals that none of the other candidates are qualified for the position...
Deal. Well, you guys take your time. Everything's all set for the assessments to go ahead. Meet me on the first floor when you're ready. Until then, have a pleasant conversation. Oh, and no need to pay for your tea. As the new owner of this fine establishment, this runs on the house. You're all set?
Uncle Tian seems really worn down. It's like all his energy...
Yeah, it may sound harsh, but Uncle Tian is past his prime. He's not cut out for this anymore. So he's recommended 3 candidates. Their names are Qinwei, Mingbo, and Zhi. Qinwei is a wealthy entrepreneur. Mingbo works at the Liyue Ministry of Civil Affairs, and Zhi is focused on study and travel. Try to keep all that in mind. Of course, it doesn't really matter if you forget, since we'll be assessing them at Yuehai Pavilion in a short while.
Qianwei, Mingbo, Zhi. Paimon should be able to remember their names, but what does he assess?
Let's leave that until we get to Yuehai Pavilion. All right. Heads in the game, people. The stakes don't get much higher than a change in the Qixing. We can't afford to miss anything, no matter how small.
Got it. We'll keep our eyes wide open.
I've dealt with all kinds of people in my time, but never have I been made to stand while
Oh, I mean, I think it's fine.
That's called being complacent. If you're happy to just accept the way things are, you'll never be able to change anything in the future.
Oh, come on. That's just... Now you're just... being
All right, you two. Let's not get into a big argument over this. It's not worth it. Qianwei, that was a bit uncalled for. And Mingbo, cut him some slack. We've all been standing around for a while. It's natural to be getting irritable. Look, how about this? There's no rule saying we're obliged to stand up while we wait, so why don't we borrow some chairs?
Fine. They're not the best quality chairs, to be sure. But under the circumstances, it would be better than nothing.
It looks like all 3 candidates have arrived. We'll meet them formally soon. Before that, let me run you through the assessment. I've split it into 2 stages: current affairs and planning, and face-to-face interview. In the first stage, candidates are required to submit a manifesto for Liyue's development. In the second stage, we will ask them some questions in person. Writing a manifesto takes time, so I informed them of this requirement in advance. These are the reports they submitted.
Wow, one of them is really thick.
It's also worth mentioning a stipulation I gave them. Whoever is appointed as the new Tianshu will be expected to implement their plan as put forward in their manifesto. Failing the occurrence of some cataclysmic event, they will not be permitted to change their plan. Therefore, these 3 piles of documents in front of us represent where each candidate... There's still some time. Have a skim through, get a first impression of what each person's proposing. I'll be waiting off to the side. Just let me know when you're done. Finished, huh? What did you think?
Everyone took it very seriously.
Of course they did. They have the chance to be picked as the new Tianshu, so you can bet. And keep in mind, whoever gets in has to execute their plan as written. Nobody wants to have any... That's for me to know and you to find out. We'll see the candidates now. Let's do one at a time. Start with Qianwei.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh? So you 2 are the assessment officers, are you? I had assumed that given the great import of this situation, Lady Ningguang would perhaps be assessing us in person. I certainly hadn't imagined I'd be seeing 2 entirely unfamiliar... I trust you've read through my manifesto? I'd be more than happy to clarify any details you found difficult to grasp. It was written with an expert audience in mind, after all.
Mind your tone, mister.
Relax. It wasn't intended as a personal slight against anyone in particular. I was simply stating a fact. Cloud Retainer? You know this Adeptus? Oh, yes, I remembered. With your sterling reputation, you must have a respectable level of erudition. Perhaps you will be able to understand the concepts I have put forward.
Oh, is it my turn?
Yes. Please introduce yourself.
I'm, Mingbo. I've worked there for, 9 years, 5 months, and 3 days. In that time, I've handled 2,347 cases. I have 12 active cases at the moment. They should be concluded in 16 days. My current work is related to urban planning, and I'm also responsible for auditing the accounts. To be more precise, there are 3 parts to the accounts, namely...
Is it just Paimon, or is he not very good at public speaking?
You know what? Let's leave the self-introduction there and move on to some questions.
Oh, okay.
Hello. Not gonna lie, I'm feeling a little nervous. What would you like to know? You're here to assess me, so ask away and I'll answer your questions to the best of my...
Your manifesto is very wide in its scope, but you don't seem to be personally involved in many of the specific fields. How can you be sure that you have the ability to put your plan into action?
Very fair question. I completely understand where you're coming from. But I'm confident in my plan. I've visited many different places, talked to lots of people with far more expertise than myself, and my manifesto is the conclusion of these efforts. Of course, 2 different problems can be interconnected in very complicated ways, and you might reach 2 very contradictory conclusions depending on which one you're focusing on. What I've tried to do is strike a balance. In other words, present an optimal solution to all the problems as a whole.
How do you plan to determine whether you are right or wrong about your proposed solution?
A great question. Well, I'd start by having my colleagues and the secretaries of the Yuehai Pavilion evaluate any proposals before implementation. Post-implementation, it would all come down to the results. If it turned out that my judgment was to blame for poor results, I would take responsibility.
Nice answer. All right, next.
He seems like a great guy. Everything he said was thoughtful and logical, and he was just a pleasure to listen.
Here's my take on what we just learned. As you saw, Qianwei is highly knowledgeable. He proposes many excellent ideas in his manifesto which effectively target the big issues. But he is very proud and incredibly stubborn. He doesn't care much about other people's feelings. Mingbo's plan is more thorough and more measured. You can tell he's meticulous in his work, very detail-oriented. But he and Qianwei are otherwise polar opposites. Mingbo is not very articulate and comes across as very timid in conversation.
Perfect summary. Paimon couldn't agree more. You're good at this, Yelan.
Last but not least, Yi. His manifesto is full of pertinent details, his methodology is sound, and his proposals cover a broad range of fields, which is quite a rare feat. The depth he goes into in each and every area means it can only be a product of painstaking work. Plus, he is modest and good at dealing with people. But what really interests me is that many of his views happen to coincide with Uncle Tien's. Having someone like Yi take the position would certainly put Uncle Tien's mind at rest.
Great!
We'll see. Let's go.
I see. Then it's more or less as I anticipated.
All right, then let me ask this. The ideas in Yi's manifesto are very similar to your...
Oh, I didn't want to say anything when I gave you the list of candidates, for fear of affecting your judgment. Those 3 candidates have all studied under me in the past. It's only natural that they... But Qianwei went on to focus on his business, and Mingbo has always been occupied with his work at the Ministry of Civil Affairs. Of all of them, Yi was with me for the...
Whoa! So how did you get to know them all, Uncle T?
Qianwei was referred to me by an old friend. Mingbo came to my attention in the course of my work. As for Yi, we first met while fishing. Gradually, as we got to know each other, we started discussing Jury came from a poor family, and his parents died when he was very young. But he was a gifted student. He reminded me of a younger version of myself. So I started out giving him a few words of advice when we were out fishing and noticed how quiet. And now, all of a sudden, he's grown into a mature young man. It's a joy to see. The young are growing up, and I am growing old. How time flies.
I don't know, Uncle Tian. You still seem in pretty good shape to me. You might have another few years of work left in you.
Oh, you. There's really no need to console me. Having less energy than I used to isn't such a bad thing. It just means I...
Sounds like you sure love fishing, Uncle T.
Ooh, there's nothing quite like fishing to pass the time. Ooh, and freshly caught fish. Ah,
Fresh fish soup. Mmm.
doesn't it? Also, some time ago, Jury purchased a vet. When we've been fishing recently, Jury always brings some extra ingredients he prepared in advance. Oh, the addition of that flavor makes for a fond memory. But at my age,
Oh, can Paimon come next time too? Paimon really wants to try it.
Let's get back to the matter at hand. Uncle Tian, we've reported back. Do you have a verdict?
I appointed you as the Had you not asked me why Jury's ideas were so similar to mine, I was not going to mention my history with any of them. This decision must be guided by what is fair and right. Please disregard all other considerations and make your final decision only after a thorough review of... Remember, you...
Understood. Come on, let's go talk somewhere else.
Bye-bye, Uncle Tian. So, it's gonna be Jiri, right? His manifesto was written well, and he's the best speaker.
Easy. Let's not rush.
Huh? So, are you...
No, nothing like that. The assessment itself is complete. But let me give you a word of advice. The biggest no-no in intelligence work is to only get information from the person of interest themselves. The truth is almost always hidden beneath many layers of deception. You have to get information. For example, Wenyuan, Shanghua.
Yes?
Lady Yelan, what are your orders?
Ugh! Who are they? Where...
Did they scare you? These two are Wenyuan and Shanghua. They work for me. As my trusted assistants, they are always standing guard nearby. They also perform various assignments as required. Shanghua is a business expert who gets his information by trading. Wenyuan relies on word of mouth. And there's also Upei, who's not here right now.
That meathead must have been out there on sea surveillance for some time now. Is he all right? I seem to remember that he can't swim.
Nothing can take that guy down. Certainly not a little wind and waves.
Shanghua, visit all the commerce guilds and look into Qianwei's background. Wenyuan, go to the Ministry of Civil Affairs and look through Mingbo's work files.
Yes, ma'am.
So what about Jiri?
Zhi, well, obviously, as the most promising candidate, we will be investigating him. Let's go to the docks first. Lots of people passing through there. You can find out all kinds of things.
If we're looking for information, why don't we try talking to Bulai, the owner of Wanyu Boutique? He does business at the North Wharf. Maybe he has some news for us.
That's actually not a...
Here today.
Look, your asking price for this batch is just too high. I can't buy in at this price. How am I supposed to turn a profit?
Come on, hear me out. I'm telling you, this is the single best batch of Sunsetias ever. I accidentally dropped one into a well, and even the water turned sweet.
Even so...
All right. I'll let you in on a little secret. The boss of Second Life also wants to buy from me, but I haven't responded yet. If you won't take him, I'll just have to partner with them instead, and neither of us wants that.
Okay, well, when you put it that way, I'll accept your asking price. I'll take all your stuff. Oh, what are you doing here? And to be clear, these Sunsetias are mine. I got to them first. Don't get any ideas.
Actually, we want to ask you about a guy called Juri.
Juri? Yes, he's quite... I've heard a story about him. They say he was born into poverty. His parents died when he was young, and he was treated cruelly by the One of his neighbors was terribly rude to him all the time, but Juri never retaliated. And when his neighbor went bankrupt, he even helped support He returned cruelty with kindness, injustice with peace offerings. A gentleman of talent and character, and... oh, how did I not notice him sooner? In fact, maybe I'm not too late. If I could hire him to be the brand ambassador for Wanyo...
Oh, he sounds like a decent man. We can finally breathe a sigh of relief.
Why are you asking about him anyway? You aren't looking for a brand ambassador. Well then, in that case, the higher bidder takes the... Ah, that's Juri right over there.
Where?
It's him, all right. Looks like he's chatting with Yelan. Come on, let's follow them and listen in. Try not to let him see you. We want this information to be as truthful.
I'll just go and fetch an employment contract. And hey, don't try and cut me out of this.
Try not to let him see you.
I understand. Let's walk and talk. So, you were looking to buy a wineware set? Oh, now I can see that you're a connoisseur, so I won't bother trying to con you. I trust you understand our shop quite well?
The truth is, an old friend of mine, who likes to have a drink now and then... He fancies himself as a man of culture, but doesn't care for needless extravagance. So I thought I might buy him a set of high-quality fakes.
How very thoughtful of you. Leave it to me, then. Come and collect it at Shigu Antiques whenever is convenient.
Thank you very much, Miss Yelan.
It's my pleasure, Mr. Juri. These days, it's quite rare for someone of your standing to still keep up with their old friends. It's nice to see. I'll be sure to pick out a good set for you. You can count on me. Juri seems to get along really well with everyone. Are you satisfied now, Yelan? Seems like everyone thinks Juri's a great guy.
We shouldn't jump to conclusions just yet. Let's go check out the wharf where he usually goes fishing.
Do we have to? Wait, you're not just trying to dig up some dirt on Juri because you want to be Tianchi.
Maybe I am. Maybe I'm not. But hey, if I do become Tianshi, you'll be able to try all the finest food for free. How does that sound?
We will? Well, come on! Off to the South Wharf we go!
The wharf is as busy as ever. I hear the anglers here sometimes sell their fish to the nearby fishmongers.
Welcome. What would you like to buy today?
sorry to interrupt. We're actually members of the, Liyue Anglers Association. We've heard about this young man called Zhi, who's supposed to be a fantastic fisherman.
Whoa! Yelan made up a whole fake identity.
Ah, yes, Zhi. He's been making quite a name for himself recently. I've got some friends who travel all over the place, and they tell me everywhere they go. Apparently, he had a rather tough time growing up. Had to work several jobs alongside his studies to make ends meet. How does that saying go? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Well, if there's anything to that logic, he's...
Yeah, we think so too.
But I'm afraid your Anglers Association might be in for a disappointment.
Oh? Why's that?
He's good at a lot of things, but fishing isn't one of them. He fishes at the wharf and sells what he catches to me on occasion. His catches are always mediocre. Not terrible, but equally nothing to write home about. If you're looking to recruit some new members, though, I do know a few top anglers I could put you in touch with.
That sounds fantastic. I've got a couple of other things to attend to right now, though, so...
Sure thing. See you.
Everywhere they go, they meet someone who's heard of him. Come on, let's keep asking around.
Here to buy some fish? It's 300 for 1 or 3 for 1,000. You better hurry when they're
Hello, we're from the Society for Fish Price Research.
Wow, she switched
Society for Fish Price Research? I haven't done anything yet.
Please, don't worry. We're just here to conduct a simple... We've heard about a certain Zhi who's been selling fresh fish at low prices in this area recently.
So this isn't about me. You should have said something, you know. I know that I haven't heard anything about him selling fresh fish at low prices, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was him.
Oh? Why is that?
Because he's so poor. His parents died when he was very young, and his alcoholic father still owed a huge amount of debt. No, he was still a kid when he first came to the wharf. His clothes were ragged, and he had a bandage wrapped around his head. And he managed to survive, thanks to Uncle Tien, who gave him some food. But still to this day, he doesn't have a lot of mora to his name. I mean, he can afford to eat and everything, but you'll often see him haggling with others over just a few mora. So, I wouldn't be surprised to find out he's been selling a few fish. It's not like he catches much anyway, so it's not going to affect my business. Don't.
You'd rather he didn't know?
Well, I spoke to him once briefly, and I just had a feeling that he really cares what other people think of him. I think he has pretty low self-esteem, but hey, it's hardly my place to say anything. What he's achieved already puts most people to shame. And nobody's perfect. I just wouldn't want to upset him, that's all.
I see. Well...
Not a problem. And just for the record.
The more times you say it, the less convincing it becomes.
Doesn't have a lot of mora to his name.
Hey, it's you guys! Wait, what's the phrase? Oh yeah, honored to meet you. What brings you to me?
The truth is, we are but newcomers to this territory. We heard tell of a great martial artist, Master Dugu, who knows everything there is to know. Hence...
Really?
But of course. We also heard that Master Dugu is a kind and virtuous swordsman.
Great! So what do you wish to know? Nothing happens on this street that I don't know.
Now she's lying to a kid.
So, Master Dugu, have you heard of one by the name of
Sure have. You mean that guy that all the grown-ups are talking about? I've heard many tales of Zhi. For example, probably because it's nothing that important. I prefer stories about sword fight.
Oh, I can completely understand that. Then let me ask you this.
Oh yeah, I know that. It was about 2 or 3 months ago. Before that, People always used to talk about Jury in a kind of nasty tone of voice. But sometimes he gives me candies. So I'm glad that people are starting to...
Just as I thought.
Huh? What do you mean?
I mean, just as I thought, Master Dugu is indeed as kind and...
I'm not that... Oh yeah, one other thing. These days, there's a lot of people I've never seen before talking about Jury's...
Oh, definitely.
Great! So next time I see them, I'll say hi. And I guess I can share some of my candy.
Certainly. You can also tell my friend in Yenshang Tea House about what they're up to. I'm sure my friend would also like...
Thank you, ma'am!
You're welcome. Well...
Until we meet again.
Any of that sound strange to you?
Strange? Juyi seems to have a great reputation. Uncle Soon and Uncle Gao spoke...
True. But the issue is, where did his sudden celebrity come from?
Sudden? Too good to be true? What?
So he returns cruelty with kindness, and had to work to support his studies. These are the kinds of things that make someone well known in their hometown. But Uncle Soon said even his friends who travel far and wide hear about him wherever they go. That's a little over the top, if you ask me. Do you remember what Dugu Shuo said about Jur-E's stories? Clearly they left him with a good impression of the guy. But beyond that, he wasn't interested in the details. That's the reaction I would expect from any normal person. Plus, there's the fact that all this praise of Jur-E has only been happening within the last 2 or... His childhood, his studies, the thing with his neighbor. None of these are recent events. So why are these stories...
When you put it like that...
Of course, if that's all there was to it, I wouldn't look into it any further. Jur-E was born into a poor family. Paying people to get his stories out there is within the rules of the game as far as I'm concerned. The problem is, do you remember what Uncle Gao said about him? He's stayed poor his whole life. Everything he's earned he's either spent on studying, traveling, or paying off debts. I don't think he has the mora to pay for a publicity campaign. Right, and that changes everything. It can mean a powerful faction is trying to gain influence. That's the worst-case scenario. But all too often, the most pessimistic speculation turns out to be closest to the truth.
Someone's trying to gain influence over the Qixing? That sounds serious. What should we do? Even if we ask Juyi about it, surely there's no way he'd...
First, we need to find out who's supporting him. Don't worry, I've got... Remember the current affairs and planning stage of the assessment? Since the successful candidate is duty-bound to implement their plan after taking office, their manifesto tells us their stance on key. Whoever is secretly helping Jur-E must be seeking to benefit from his actions after his appointment. So, we should be able to find some hints in Jur-E's manifesto on who... Come on, let's get back to... Jur-E's manifesto covers a huge range of topics. Looking for details that don't add up will be like trying to find a needle in a haystack. I'll divide the reports into 2 piles. You take one, I'll take the other. When we're finished, we'll put our heads... Officially, the assessment is already over, and I'll be expected to announce the results before long. So we have to get to the bottom of this as quickly as we can.
Yikes! We better hurry!
Whatever else Uncle Tien might think of Jur-E, the fact remains that he's one of his favorite students. Any evidence he's left is not going to be immediately obvious. We'll have to look carefully and think...
Even though Yelan took half, well, we gotta start somewhere. this reading is getting...
Looks like I'm the first one back, as...
Oh, hey! It's one of Yelan's little helpers! If you're back, that means you finished investigating...
You betcha. I visited all the commerce guilds and gathered a wealth of information. Every time they asked me to leave, but I always had another trick up my sleeve.
Don't drag this out. Just
Yes, Lady Yelan. To summarize my findings, most people who've had interactions with Qianwei will start out complaining about how proud and arrogant he is, but then go on to give a generally positive appraisal. The young master of the Feiyun Commerce Guild said that Qianwei appears arrogant, but he's very scrupulous in the way he works. Once he signs a contract with somebody, he treats them fairly regardless of their background.
Who'd have thought?
Is it possible that his reputation is fake? Is there any way you can check the accounts of the business?
In theory, that should be very difficult. But here's the thing. I asked around and found out that almost all of Qianwei's accounts are open to the public. Where he buys from and sells to should be confidential business information, but he doesn't seem interested in protecting it at all. Qianwei often sees business opportunities that others don't, but once he's made enough mora off of it, it's like he gets sick of it and releases all of his trade secrets. It's like he wants people to know that they still can't beat him, even if he shares all of his secrets. The fact that someone like that can still make mora is pretty infuriating when you think about it.
What a strange guy. It's like he's not doing business...
To validate his theories. No wonder his manifesto contains so many insights. It's all the result of his first-hand experimentation.
I'm back! Huh?
Why do you think? Obviously, because I possess superior skills, and am always one step ahead.
You... Ugh, whatever. I'm not getting into an argument with you. If I hadn't had something else to take care of on the way, I would have been... Lady Yelan, I have finished...
Well, we're all ears.
The Ministry of Civil Affairs says that Mingbois struggles to get his words out when he gets nervous. Especially... But after a few days of getting to know him, you can pretty much have a normal conversation with him. On the whole, the feedback from the Ministry of Civil Affairs was very positive. He always considers...
In your opinion, was the Ministry of Civil Affairs
I don't believe so. Mingbois is someone who has slowly but surely earned the According to Miss Yu, the Ministry often gets Mingbois to take a final look at projects before they're implemented. People feel much more confident in something if it has his stamp of approval. Oh, and also, there was once someone in the ministry who was lying and cheating to try to advance their career. Mingbois gave them the scolding of a lifetime. Apparently, he can be terrifying when he loses his temper. I haven't seen it for myself, though.
Whoa. That's hard to...
Like I said before, things are not always as...
Ah! So that's what you meant by that.
Thank you both. You're free to go now. So, have you finished reading the map?
We still have a...
I can't see any immediate problems looking at the individual entries. The only one that strikes me as a little unusual is the Cheungshu Pool redevelopment plan. Cheungshu Pool has always been home to many secrets. Plus, Ajdaha once wrought havoc there, so there are even more secrets buried deep underground. At some point, a rumor began to go around that there is great treasure buried beneath. A long time ago, with the approval of the Qixing, a mining team conducted an exploratory
So, did they find any treasure?
None. The ruin was completely impenetrable. The only way they could have gotten through the solid rock would have been by blowing it up. The technology wasn't mature enough at that time, so the excavation project was shut down and the treasure became a mere legend. Zhi-Yi's manifesto focuses on solving problems, and this treasure hunt seems extremely risky. It seems out of... Still, this one fact alone doesn't tell us much. Everyone wants to get their hands on this treasure. The treasure hoarders, the Fatui, even local Liyue factions.
Excavation? Project? Treasure? Did we read anything similar in our half of the Oh yeah! Zhi-Yi said the Blackcliff Forge workers should get right...
Did he now? Well, that makes everything much clearer. So Zhi-Yi wants the Black...
Does that mean the Blackcliff Forge is Zhi-Yi's secret supporter?
No, not likely. I've looked into the Blackcliff Forge before. They aren't involved with any powerful factions at present. They do possess some specialized explosives, but it would seem more trouble than it's worth to put so many resources into a risky project like this. Still, since the clues are pointing toward the Blackcliff Forge, we should see where they lead. We may well find something new.
Shenwei and Mingbo both turned out to be completely different than what we thought. What about Juri? Is there another side to him too? What's this?
From the back, it looks like a ledger. But it seems they also use it as a site log. We don't know who wrote it, but it's interesting, don't you think?
You think they're suspicious?
Yes. Look, it says right there, one of them's all... At this rate, by the time the Qingshu Pool redevelopment plan is ready to roll, that'll give them the chance to take a lot of liberties. They can copy any secret texts or steal any treasure they find under... Imagine if we didn't suspect anything. By the time Jur-E recommends the Blackcliff Forge for the excavation project, at most no red flags if all they did was change some key staff. And even if we decided to vet the staff individually, they'd have had more than enough. That's the advantage of planning this far in advance. It was a clever move.
When you put it like that, it all makes sense. If we hadn't found this out, someone else would have... So, who's really behind all this?
That's a question for the newcomers. But let's start with that worker over...
Excuse us. We want to ask you about the new...
You want them to... I gotta say, these newcomers are in tip-top shape. Fast learners, too. They're picking up all the skills. My only complaint is that they're always going out drinking at night. But they never let us join them. I guess they just need some time to adjust. I'm sure we'll get to know each other over time.
They go out drinking. This area isn't exactly renowned for the nightlife.
You got that right. They tell me they go all the way back to Liyue Harbor to drink. It rained after work today, so they actually stuck around at the site for a while. But as soon as the rain stopped, hey, you're only young once, right? I say, if they can hack it, let them at it.
Interesting. Let's go talk somewhere else. Drinking in Liyue Harbor, huh? Some cover story. Good thing it rained today. It means they'll leave footprints. I doubt they'd give themselves away that easily, but...
They went that way! Hurry, we gotta catch up! These footprints are heading towards Liyue Harbor. Maybe we were wrong about them.
Just as I thought. They didn't go to Liyue Harbor. They went that way. The footprints stop here, but, judging from the direction, I'm guessing their destination was that abandoned... Looks like we were too late. This has gotta be where the newcomers rendezvous with whoever they're working for. But look at these ashes. Someone was burning documents not long before we arrived.
Could there be anything left? Maybe the wind could have blown the fire out before everything was finished.
The odds of that are very slim. It's practically impossible.
Why don't we wait for them back at the Black Cliff Forge? They've got to go back there soon.
We can't count on that. Clearly they were based here at one point, but it's mysteriously... To me, that says that whoever's behind this has moved them somewhere else to throw our investigation off course.
Darn! Guess this is where a trail runs.
Make no mistake, the purpose of our trip wasn't to find any solid evidence. We just need to I smelled something peculiar. Those newcomers probably thought they'd be safe as long as they burned the letters. But what they failed to consider is that paper and ink from different regions produce different odors when they're burned.
Really? Paimon can't smell anything. Do you?
There is a certain place with a freezing cold climate where there's nothing but ice as far as the eye can see. Some wealthy people there put floral fragrance in their ink as a way of injecting a little romance into their writing. When that fragrant ink is burned, this is the exact odor that it leaves behind. Exactly. The evidence will soon be blown away by the wind, but it's all I need. Now I know who we're dealing with. I can plan our next move.
Lady Yelan! Oh, thank goodness I finally found you. I thought I'd never see you again.
Who are you?
Don't be alarmed. This is Upei. He's Wenyuan and Shanghua's colleague. I sent him to look into Zhi-Yi's regular contacts. Since Zhi-Yi likes fishing, Upei thought he might know some of... I left him a note at Yanshang Tea House telling him to look for me at Black Cliff Forge when he got back. If there'd been an ambush waiting for us there... So, what did you find out at sea?
Forgive my incompetence. I'm afraid I've come up empty. I asked all the fishermen multiple times, but none of them had any interactions with Zhi-Yi before. Then the waves got so choppy I ended up falling overboard. Fortunately, when I got back, I heard that you'd gone to Black Cliff Forge and might need backup, so I went straight there as fast as I could. Didn't even stop to change my clothes.
Well, Uncle Tien said that Zhi-Yi once bought a recipe from one of the...
What? That's news to me. No, that's not possible. It's absolutely not possible. Lady Yelan, I'm telling you, I spoke to every single fisherman out there, and none of...
Interesting. Then I wonder how that even more wonderful fish...
Fish soup? What fish soup?
Nothing. Our priority right now is to find a way to get our... Well, any suggestions? Not a bad idea. Upei, what do you...
Honestly, I've already tried following Zhi-Yi, but the guy's too cautious. Never meets with anyone suspicious.
Okay, so tailing's out.
No, we'll still need to tail him. But first, we need to...
Groundwork?
When you've worked in intelligence for a long time, you'll understand that no one can stay on high alert forever. Especially when he thinks he's about to win. Tomorrow morning, I'll announce his victory at Yuehai Pavilion. Take a guess what you think he'll do next. Be sure to arrive on time. You won't want to miss the show. Roll. Suffice to say that Uncle Tien entrusted me with the monumentally important task.
All of us here know the score. Don't beat around the bush, just get on with it.
Qianwei has many pioneering ideas, but some of his plans are lacking in... Mingguo is reliable, but not quite ambitious enough. And because of his personality, he's... In contrast, Zhi-Yi is evenly balanced across the board, and after much consideration, I have decided to recommend Zhi-Yi.
What?
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. Honestly, I'm a little surprised to hear my name being announced. In my estimation, all three of us are worthy candidates for the Tianshu position. As your competitor, I've become keenly... Would either of you entertain the possibility of working with me in the future? And taking on some of my workload?
I'll have to see. I'm in a bad mood.
I don't mind, as long as I can...
Okay, well, that's all from me. Zhi-Yi, you'll have some preparation to do. It won't be long before you're informed of your official appointment.
I will live up to the Tianshu name. On this, you have my word. I should go. I need to pack my things, and then I think a celebratory meal is in order. Would anyone like to join?
Count me out. I'm not in the mood for...
Zhi-Yi seems pretty relaxed now. This would be a good time to follow.
Hey, traveler. Tell me something. What exactly does that guy have that I... If you can't answer that, I'm not accepting this result.
I, also wouldn't mind no-
Oh no, if we get stuck here, we won't be able to leave!
Follow him.
Yes, ma'am.
We finally got rid.
Lady Yelan, jury has gone towards Feiyun's...
Follow him, quickly.
So Jury.
I'm sorry, Lady Yelan. He's too good at this. We weren't able to keep following him without being seen.
How the heck did he manage to shake Yelan's sport? I guess Jury didn't let his guard down.
No, Upe says he's much more relaxed than usual. Maybe it's just how he's wired. Perceptive enough to sense when he's being watched.
But how?
Don't blame yourselves. Let's not forget he was trained by Uncle Tien himself. Evading detection is not an unusual... If I'd asked you to tail Uncle Tien, you'd have ended up at a dead end too. It's fine. So...
Shinue kiosk. He only went in briefly. Upe and I were watching outside the whole time. A few moments later, a man dressed in a completely different outfit came out. Upe had a feeling that it was him, but we couldn't get close enough to check without blowing. I figured that if we spooked him, it would undo what we've accomplished today so far. So I stopped Upe, and I stayed here to wait for you while that meathead went to ask around and...
Good work. The fish didn't take the bait, but that's okay. As long as he's still swimming around, we'll find a way to catch... Let's go to Shinue Kiosk.
Could you explain to me how that works? A guy like him comes in, changes his whole outfit right under your nose, and you don't even act.
Our customers are free to dress however they please. What grounds would I have to quit?
Okay, fair enough, but didn't you think it was just a little bit?
Well, maybe I did, but it still doesn't give me the right...
Enough. Let's tone this down a little. I'll make this quick. Just one question. What did he buy while he was here?
Oh, he didn't buy anything. He just picked up a bottle of liquor that he ordered ages ago.
A bottle of liquor?
Yes, a very strong kind. Fiery, with a rich flavor. Not something the average customer... This gentleman ordered it in person from us a long time ago. He was only here today.
Liquor and wineware.
Where to?
Shigu Antiques. Hey, Miss Linlong. Sorry to bother you. We're friends of his. He's been telling us how impressed he is with the quality.
Sure. Which model are...
We don't really know a whole lot about wineware. Let's just go with Jur-E's choice. Would you be able to show...
Jur-E picked up his set not long ago as a quality imitation of an antique wineware set. Just so you're aware, we don't have many of this model left in stock. And now that Mr. Jur-E has taken one, I'm afraid it may
Don't worry. Price shouldn't be an issue. I'm sure we can work something out. But I'm just a little hazy on one thing.
For this set, the wine glasses are sold separately. Minimum purchase is 1 glass, max...
Okay. Thanks, Linlong. Seems there's a little more to buying wineware than I first thought.
Well, don't take too long. We could sell out any day now.
I'd just like to point out that we have the self-professed Grand Master of Fieldwork here to thank.
It's not like you did any better.
My specialty is information trading, okay? I don't have the physical agility.
Yelan, so... Oh, if we can't figure out where Jerry went, there's not much we can do. But why was he buying liquor at Shinue Kiosk anyway?
If so, it's no ordinary sell.
What do you mean?
First of all, Jur-E isn't much of a drinker. On some level, he hates alcohol because of what it did to... If he was just looking to celebrate by himself, he wouldn't spend his meager savings on an expensive bottle of alcohol. No, this is a victory feast. Whoever this person is clearly enjoys hard liquor and has a very high status. Hence the need for... Now, where might we find Fatui who...
Fatui officials. Should be either the Snezhnaya and...
Have both locations surrounded. Take as many people...
Lady Yelan, is it time for us to make our move?
Get with the program, would you? This is a covert surveillance operation. Jury may be vigilant, in which case, we don't need to change tactic.
Great idea! So we just need to find out who Jury bought that liquor for and...
But Lady Yelan, if we get caught, this could become a major diplomatic incident.
I'm well aware, but don't you see? Jur-E is gambling everything on this. If we really want to stick to your orders, And make sure we're covering all other bases too. Anywhere else,
Yes, ma'am.
Don't worry, Lady Yelan. Jur-E may be a slippery character, but we'll keep a close watch.
I'll be waiting for you at the tea house. If I'm guessing correctly, Fatui officials are likely to take action at night. You should go and get ready. Then meet me at Yansheng Tea House. Perfect timing. Wenyuan just sent word that the Fatui ambassador, Yusupov, just left the embassy alone.
Qingshu Pool? That's the place
It looks like that's where they've arranged to meet. Sensible choice. Qingshu Pool is always crawling with monsters. Most people wouldn't dream of going there. It's one place they won't need to worry about.
Oh no, we gotta go get them!
Let's go. If my hunch is correct, we just might hit the jack. I've looked into the place before. There's a worker's entrance somewhere around here. Follow me. There's been some work done on this place in the past. The workers left an emergency. Still, be right.
Don't worry, we're all professionals. By the way, Yelan, where are your three little
They have other things to take care of first. We couldn't afford to wait. Take it easy. Busted. Gotcha. Rain cutter. Rain outlines your fate. Speed of light. Hey! As I expected, but this shouldn't be too much trouble.
That's gotta be the Fatui ambassador here to meet. That must be the emergency access route, right?
I will have order.
No, my sword! With sword comes shadow. Don't blink! Let me weave you a verse. Go as one! Incoming! Hey!
The water's gone down.
Stabilize!
The waters flowed into the groove, and now the statues have lit up. Okay, now we should be able to move the statues.
The door is open. Let's go.
We should be nearly at the bottom now. Let's wrap this up.
Order guide you.
No, my sword! I swear by my sword! Cut to the chase! Witness the power of Guhua! Speed of light! Hey!
Take it easy.
I can tell from the aroma that this is very fine. Come on, bottoms up.
Oh, sorry, that went down the wrong way. I've never.
You'll get there. If you want to stay friends with us, you.
I'll do my best.
You're more of a lightweight than I thought. Already struggling after one. I thought you were made of sterner stuff. You certainly kept it together when you were poisoning your teachers. Come on, another round. Less talking, more drink.
Sure. You didn't leave me much of a choice, though, did you? Just the mention of poisoning sends shiver. I'm more timid than you realize. Every time I poisoned him, I had to hide away at home for a few days because I was so scared.
Look, I know it has not been easy for you, my friend. But I have to say, you really are quite a genius. I mean, the poison we brought from Snezhnaya is as strong as this wine, but you found a way to turn it into an imperceptible, slow-acting poison and came up with what was it you said? Oh, yeah. You said the soup's fishy flavor neutralizes the pungency of the poison, and...
It struck me one day when I was fishing. I'm lucky it did. Otherwise...
You have performed excellently. The Fatui will continue to provide the support you need to consolidate your position as Tianshu. Of course, aside from Qingshu Pool, We also have some other requests.
Don't worry. Whatever tasks you have for me.
Did you hear that? It was poison! That's why Uncle Tien hasn't been... What a nasty guy.
Hold on. Did you bring a camera? If not, you can use mine. This is quite a scene.
We've seen no progress on the diplomat, but soon everything will be taken care of. I remember when I first saw you. I knew right away that you would make a good partner for us. Hey.
How could I forget? You said a lowly commoner like me could never be seen as a serious candidate for the... The only way is for you to shine bright in the Tianshu's darkest moment. I think you were...
Yes. Under normal circumstances, the gap between you and other people... Just look at your two competitors. Qianwei had wealth. Mingbo had reputation. And that's why I decided to help you. You know, there's an old saying in the Fatui. Give a starving dog a bone, and it'll guard your...
Yes. I cannot thank you enough.
You know, the best thing about you is that you do as you're told. Heck, when you're not in the company of the Fatui, you'll be able to throw your weight around as much as you want.
Uncle Gao said that Jur-E has low self-esteem. Seems he was right. He was worried that whatever advantage he might have now will diminish over time. Do you have any more film in the camera? Then get ready to use it. Tonight's grand finale should be... How well this goes for us depends on how
Ooh, is there any more alcohol? Go on. Fill me up. I'm in a good mood today.
There's only a little left. Here, I'll fill your glass. If you like it, I can bring...
Whoa, this is the good... Huh? Jur-E, you...
You seem surprised, Mr. Yusuf.
You...
How could I not? I've sacrificed years of my life studying and reflecting to prepare myself for this. You really think I'd put myself through all that just to become your little puppet?
You imbecile. It's the Fatui who got you to where you are. Do you understand? If I disappear...
Do you see the haystack in the corner? Underneath it is a pile of explosives. And next door in the dark room are the 3 undercover agents you sent to infiltrate the Black Cliff Forge. I'm gonna stay here till I see you slip into unconsciousness. Then I'm gonna set this on fire. Once the flames burn through the hay, they'll ignite the...
Whoa!
I took the liberty of leaving some evidence of your contact with the undercover agents at the Black Cliff Forge. It won't take long for people to join. The Fatui planted undercover agents in the Black Cliff Forge to steal their signature ruin-grade explosives. Their plan was to blow through the solid floor tiles in the dead of night and see... But things didn't quite go to plan. Faced with the overwhelming evidence, the embassy won't investigate this any further. In fact, they'll be only too happy to blame it all on a rogue op. It explains why you acted alone, while exonerating the rest of the Of course, none of that will have anything to do with me. When all of this comes to my attention, I'm afraid I'll have no choice but to cancel the Qingshu...
Jur-E, do you really think you're gonna get away with this? The Fatui has a record of everything. After I die, they'll come...
A record? Oh, you must mean the one in the hand...
How?
Because when you contacted me, I also made contact with your associates. I have Theophan to thank. He'll help me tie up all the loose ends. After all, he has been eyeing your position for a long...
That traitor!
Shh, 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 shh. Relax. It's over. After tonight, everyone... Sweet dreams, Mr. Yusuf.
I did a little surveying on the way here and found that you'd left yourself 3 escape routes in case things went south. I have them all surrounded. If you're thinking of trying anything, save yourself the effort. We were here the whole time and have pictures of everything.
The game's up? Forgive me, I'm not quite sure. I happened to discover a Fatui operation here, so I approached them on the pretext of joining forces and eventually brought them down from with.
This is how you want to play it, huh? Fine. You do you. All we need to do to convict you is establish that the poison in Nothing else you wanted to add?
One wrong move and it all comes crashing down. You followed him here, didn't you? I was so focused on keeping myself out of sight.
There is now no poison left in his system. But recovery from the damage already done will not...
Dr. Baiju, is my father going...
You needn't worry too much. Keep taking the prescribed medicine every day, and a full recovery will take at most... It's good we caught it in time. A few days later, and the toxin would have built up in the internal organs.
How did they successfully secure such a seldom-seen poison? It seems the Fatui are unfortunately for them.
Uncle Tien will be heading off now. Remember to get plenty of rest and avoid overexerting yourself.
Don't worry, I will. Thank you very much. You're here too? Thank you for all you've done to resolve. Yes, the exhaustion seems to have gone.
Luckily, it looks like choosing the Tianshu's successor is suddenly not such a...
Hey, Yelan!
My work is mostly wrapped up, so I thought I'd take a minute to check in here. The assessment process comes to an end here, Uncle Tien. In my opinion, Zhi is not suitable for the position.
You have my gratitude. People can change their loyalties easily.
Is it just Paimon, or is Uncle Tien not...
Don't underestimate Uncle Tien. He wouldn't have appointed me as assessment. Normally, the Yuehai Pavilion would be responsible for assessing the candidates.
Yes, to be quite honest, I wanted to trust him unreservedly. When I first met Zhi, I wondered if he had approached me with a hidden agenda. So I concluded that he had no ulterior motives whatsoever. In the end, even he changed. I never had any plans to recommend him directly, but I always intended to give him the chance to compete on a level. I had no reputation to speak of when I first became Tianshu. I relied on Ganyu's assistance for all manner of things.
I have to admit, he's a smart guy. And the intel suggests that the Fatui saw him as very low risk. But Zhi was still extreme. He chose that specific liquor from Xinyue Kiosk because the fiery flavor would mask the bitterness of the poison. And he chose to wait until the Fatui official was drunk. He also installed a secret compartment in the wine pot he bought to hold the poison. As the amount of liquor went down, he'd shake the pot to release the poison from the compartment into the liquor. Afterwards, we also found he had an antidote on him. Had the Fatui official grown suspicious, Zhi would have drunk the poison.
But that's still really dangerous.
Yes. Had he drunk the poisonous wine, he still would have faced serious health consequences despite taking the antidote. He didn't hesitate to put himself in...
How is Zhi now?
Well, I mean, he's sitting in a jail cell. Like still, he's cooperating. He didn't turn down my offer to strike a deal. I'll make sure there are plenty of guards around to keep him...
A deal? Does this have to do with what you said to him when you arrested him?
Yes, Zhi's not the one I'm interested in. If he was as far as this went, I'd have handed the case off to... But once the Fatui became involved, things got a whole lot more interesting.
Well, did you?
Almost. Unfortunately...
Uncle Tien? Yelan? What are you talking about? Paimon doesn't understand.
Zhi colluded with the Fatui to try and secure the position of Tianshu. Or, to put it the other way around, with Yusupov in our hands and a statement from Zhi, we could afford to continue. Also, we'd be able to gain control of Theophan, Yusupov's second in command. Then, pawns like this can be major assets. They open up all sorts of new options. Why else did you think I was investing so much?
So, okay, well, did your plan succeed?
We got halfway. The first part went off without a hitch, and we passed all the information on. But when we tried to make contact with Theophan, he was gone. Along with all...
The Fatui must be spying on us. Otherwise, they'd never been able to...
I found out from other sources that the Harbinger Regrator got involved. The Fatui's main forces aren't concentrated here. Regrator was only treating this as a peripheral It's a pity that Theophan got away. But knowing which Harbingers are still looking at Liyue is something. It gives me a starting point for my...
I have to ask, Yelan. Do you have... I remember you showed some interest a few days ago at Yenshang Tea House.
Oh, that. I was obviously joking. I prefer my current life. There's danger and there's excitement. Although it'd still be a behind-the-scenes role. As Tianshu, I wouldn't have the chance to get involved in anything true. All right, I'm done here. Time for me to go. I'm heading...
Where are you off to this time?
As you might have guessed. It's for me to... But I'm sure if you keep going as you are, getting yourselves involved in other people's business all the time, maybe I'll see you the next time danger beckons. Until then, keep your wits about you. A lot of people are If you have any more questions, just ask Uncle Tien. After the recent turn of events, I'd say he owes you one.